N64, a console that is not necessarily my go-to. It still managed to pump out some of the best platformers of all time. And no, I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about this one, Banjo-Kazooie, created by the legendary British company Rare. Now sure, Banjo might not be quite as big as Mario, but there's one thing from the late 90s that left a lasting impression. It's the completely unhinged commercials for video games. And yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was no different. Kazooie? Let's take a look.
You don't understand, it's after us. It's big! It's got huge teeth, a big beak, bulgy eyes, feathers, fur everywhere.
Yeah, and pigs can fly.
No bears can fly! Bad guys beware! Here comes Banjo-Kazooie!
Hold on, did I just blink and miss that? Alright, rewind. That's a puppet for like half a second.
Banjo-Kazooie, only for Nintendo.
After that, all you really see is the silhouette total E.T. Moon moment. But here's the twist. That puppet, it's real. And it's right here in this studio. After its big TV debut, this puppet eventually found its way into a movie prop auction house. And get this, it sold for just $2,100 back in December 24. Now I know prop collecting is niche, but as a prop maker, that's shockingly low, especially considering the craftsmanship, the rarity, and the nostalgic value attached to it. Even worse, the auction house estimated it only $300 to $500, which honestly is more terrifying than this photo of Banjo looking like he hasn't slept since 1999.
Whoa!
Thankfully, it's passed through a few collectors' hands, and now it's here in the studio. Let's take a look at the puppet itself. The provenance tells us that this was constructed by Animated FX, a renowned Los Angeles-based company specializing in animatronics and special effects. Now, while this puppet held up pretty well over time, it's seen better days. So, let's talk repairs. The main issue? Power and control have been cut. Literally. Kazooie's beak is supposed to move, but right now there's no connection, no response, nothing. So here's the goal. We're going to restore electrical power to the beak servo, identify the control cable, bring the puppet back to life without damaging its delicate internal structure. Now here's the catch. There's no access panel. We can't just pop it open and start soldering. And believe me, this is not the kind of subject I want to perform surgery on. Let me introduce you to the endoscope. It's a tiny LED-equipped camera with a semi-rigid cable that connects to your phone. Perfect for internal recon. But since the servo is most likely near the beak, there's really only one way in. Sorry, Kazooie. There it is. It's a Futaba S3801 servo. And when we pull up specs, we know it's rated at 6 volts. Now that we know the voltage, we need to figure out this mystery cable situation. Adam steps in with the multimeter to measure resistance and map out which wires are power and which are signal. The power lines are confirmed, but the control line, still MIA. Time for the endoscope round 2, this time with the hook attachment. And we found it right there. A cut white control cable coiled up inside, just out of reach. Carefully, we hook and guide it through a small neck opening. With power, control, proper specs identified, it's time to test. We set up a 30-volt adjustable power supply, dial it to exactly 6 volts to match the servo specs. Then, using an Arduino IDE and a bit of C++, we write a custom control code. The knob ranges from 0 to 60 degrees max, because any more than that, and yeah, we don't want that. We first test this on a similar voltage servo, and seeing it move, that's a great sign. We carefully strip and connect the wires, temporarily. We then hook the control line into the microcontroller. Now, for the moment of truth. Oh. Oh my God. We are back in business. Now that we've confirmed everything works, it's time to refine. We're going to replace temporary wiring with proper secure connections. We're also going to add a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. And most importantly, we're going to go wireless. But I don't want to just use any generic controller. I've got something much more fitting in mind. You'll see where this is going soon. But let's not forget, this is a puppet first. So I've brought in 2 professional puppeteers with decades of experience to weigh in on the movement, the mechanics, and to make sure we preserve that original charm.
That's wild.
Hi, my name is Spencer Merle.
Hey, I'm Chris Hayes.
I am a professional puppeteer and puppet builder, and I've been doing this almost my whole life. And I've worked on a number of film and TV productions and built stuff for theme park.
I'm a professional puppeteer for theater, film, and television. Work with Sesame Street and the Jim Henson Company and all type of stuff on stage and on screen. Been doing that for, oh my God, 20 years, something like that. I cannot believe this thing is this big. Watching the commercials, I just assumed it was half the size.
This takes me back to an amazing time in like video game and like television. This era of video games, we're seeing these really low polygon models, and things are really simplified and pared down. And so it created a space where it was, you could still sort of speculate if we had an unlimited amount of detail, what might this thing look like? Like the Crash Bandicoot thing is another good example. Really punch this design up and show what it would look like if we had unlimited detail. Whereas now we kind of have as much as we want to play with, so you can see these characters rendered in as precise a way as the developers would want to. So that space in between is kind of gone now.
The space Spencer refers to is a fascinating one. In the days of limited graphics, game developers often relied on box art and manual illustrations to give characters a sense of realism and help the players fill in the gaps with their imagination. Today, with modern titles boasting near photorealistic visuals, the box art is usually just a rendered in-game image, and the promotional materials might include 3D printed models of the exact same design. As a result, that once vibrant artistic space for interpretation has largely disappeared, if not vanished entirely. During the commercial shoot, how many puppeteers do you estimate were needed to operate Kazooie?
I'm gonna say probably 4.
Yeah, there's 4 pick points on that at least that we found. Yeah, you'd have to have a whole separate person watching a monitor, doing an RC control, and then at the very least probably 3, 1 doing the head and the butt, and 1 person each for wing.
Now that Kazooie's up and flying, it's time to get back to finishing the repairs. We'll start by snaking the clipped control line through with the endoscope so it exits the puppet at the same point as the power line. Next, we'll attach proper cable connectors to both the power and control lines, then install a rechargeable battery and our custom microcontroller. From there, all that's left is to upload our custom control code we wrote earlier onto the microcontroller. And what did we just do? Adam?
Alright, so the whole thing is powered by a rechargeable 12-volt battery block. That 12 volts is crunched down to 6 volts to control the mouth motor. 5 volts is controlling our little microcontroller box down here. And the microcontroller in there is what's sending the motor signal and receiving the signal from the control box. And this here is your rechargeable power cable charge port. Main power switch, just right there. Turn him on, and he's good to go. The remote can sense whether or not the bird is turned on.
Speaking of remotes, I think it's time to reveal my idea for the remote. The Jiggy! And like most of our builds, it all starts with a 3D model. This one I sculpted in ZBrush. The main housing will be resin printed on one of our SLA machines, and the top plate will be laser cut from a suitable mirror gold acrylic. Now, before we assemble everything into the Jiggy housing, let's test out the guts of the control.
We have the control knob, the main control unit. We got the charge port and a battery charger to keep everything running. This is the main power switch. Turn the power switch on, you got your power indicator, and then when it connects to the bird, the green light comes on.
Looks like everything's working perfectly. We'll make sure the charging port is placed along the side, the battery and power button on the bottom, and the indicator lights and knob neatly positioned on top. Once everything's in place, we can close it all up. Finally, we'll add some rubber feet to the bottom, then peel off the protective film from the top. So shiny. Man, finally wrapped this thing up, and dude, what an honor this was to get to piece this back together and just bring it back to life. You know, I brought in my friend Adam, I brought in other puppeteers to kind of take a look at this and get like a really good feeling of like what this thing was when it was in the commercial for a brief amount of time. But we came up with this cool idea to just modernize it. We've got this nice full-size Jiggy that's kind of ironically almost the same size as a Nintendo 64 controller. But yeah, this has just been awesome, man, to work with. And so, what do you think about that, Kazooie?
I think it's great. You guys brought me back to life. Thank you so much.